All men are not created equal, and even if they were, some choose to rise into incredibly functional people, whereas others become a simple drag to society. This is one of the main differences between high-value and low-value men. But once you adopt the mindset of a high-value man and see what these men actually do as part of their routines and habits, you can easily become one. But it's not as simple. And a basic word of warning is that high-value men make many sacrifices, something that often scares the average man. In this video, we'll explore the 10 weird things high-value men do that drive women wild and how you can start doing these things yourself. But what is the secret to a high-value man? What is the main secret to being a high-value man? This next part might not be as exciting as the different habits, but you must understand exactly what makes a high-value man. It's actually quite simple at the surface, and everything basically boils down to game. However, this kind of game is completely different from what you would use in pickup. One of the main reasons for the failure of many men is because they become so obsessed with game and pickup. They forget about some of the more important elements of life. This is actually building and having something sensible you can offer someone. In layman's terms, it's referred to as back-end game. You see, whenever you meet a woman, you'll often use your words to impress her. But at some point, you'll need to show her that you actually have the potential to become successful. A recent study has proven that women are more worried about whether a man will be able to offer her resources in the future as opposed to how many resources he can offer her now. Obviously, this can change depending on age, with older people more focused on immediate resources. The back-end game refers to whether you can offer her a home to live in, put food on the table, and have some additional resources available for spending. Women truly admire this, as it shows them that you have actually been working hard and you would naturally make sense as a solid partner for a relationship. To help you enhance your back-end game, you should focus on some small habits, which might mean that you step back from the dating world for a bit. However, some of the following things high-value men do can be integrated into your everyday life. Not only will it significantly improve your life, but with the level of resources you begin to accumulate, success is also on the horizon. Once you have such confidence, your game will drive women wild. So let's dive in. Number 1. No validation needed. The first one is perhaps one of the most powerful things you often see with high-value men. These men have developed such a high level of confidence, and they naturally understand female behavior. Thanks to this, they don't really care what women think of them, and they're not naturally seeking her approval like many other men. Women are highly baffled by this due to the changes in society. You see, women had to fight for men before the technology boom. However, now they don't need to fight for men anymore, as they can easily put a photo on social media and have their inboxes completely flooded by men. Fortunately, high-value men are not like this, and in many situations, especially when they're rejected, they simply just move on with their lives. By moving on with their lives, these men show women complete disregard for their approval, which automatically makes them stand out from the rest of the crowd. Women are highly drawn to this kind of behavior, and she realizes that he's unshakable. This naturally builds trust, as she now understands that this man will endure regardless of the backlash he might face in life. Additionally, it also activates the chasing desire in women. Since these men take things for what they are, they don't feel the need to chase. When a man doesn't chase and a woman likes him, she will become the one chasing a relationship. This natural shift in power will allow you to dictate things, and you can make a few calls that will steer the relationship into a more favorable direction for yourself. Number 2. These men are always themselves. One of the major issues in the world is men not willing to be themselves. Men now see other men on social media and television and try to tailor their personalities to be more like their idols. However, this means there's no congruency, and the man is not authentic in any way. In fact, he's often just a shell of the person he wants to replicate. High-value men have discovered that the only way to win over people and get them to trust you is to find out who you are. Yes, this means that you need to figure out what kind of person you are and focus on molding yourself and your personality in a way that's unique to you. In simple terms, this means finding out who you are. Once you found out who you are, it's important to cultivate this and make sure that you master the kind of person that you are. Women highly admire the fact that men are authentic, but only high-value men do this. The reason you only see high-value men moving against the tide is that they don't care what others think. Now, this doesn't mean you should stop caring what others think, but when someone doesn't play an active role in your life, or when you're dealing with women, you need to understand that their opinions simply do not matter. The moment you become your authentic self, it might feel like a massive weight being lifted off your shoulders, and you finally become free from the shackles of society. Women highly admire this freedom of being who you want, and they tend to love it when a man has the willingness to live out his own passions and chase goals. Number 3. These men say no. Whilst being an agreeable person is not that bad, and it could make you the perfect teacher's pet, it's not something sustainable when dating. One of the big issues with many beta males is the fact that they believe it's important to always say yes. If they say no, they think a woman will run to someone else. While she will certainly enjoy you always saying yes and wasting your resources, you don't give her any reason to respect you. One of the key things needed for any functional relationship is the fact that the woman respects the man. This can only be achieved by often not abiding by her will and being willing to step on a few toes. Women might not like you for saying no in the moment, but in the long run, they will respect you. If something doesn't tickle your fancy or you feel a little uncomfortable with something, you should say no. This makes women appreciate the yes more, and she realizes who's in control. If a woman chooses to walk away simply because you've said no, let her walk. In many cases, she might even come back. She usually will come back at some point. Number 4. They are unscripted. Using a script for things is great. In fact, it's used for movies and plenty of television shows. Even YouTubers use scripts when it comes to delivering content. The reason for scripting things is to make it predictable and ensure you deliver value instead of just some unnecessary information. However, many guys choose to use scripts when it comes to dating, often tailoring their approaches in such a way that it has to follow a specific storyline. However, this seems ingenuine to many women, and women can immediately pick up when someone's following a script. The other problem with these approaches is that women rarely respond the same, which makes it impossible to perfectly predict your next move. However, the main thing that high-value men rely on is their confidence. One of the reasons they rely on confidence for pickup is because it gives them the freedom to roll with the situation. This means that instead of saying everything that others are constantly telling them to say, they can comfortably steer the conversation in their own direction. Being able to steer the conversation in your direction requires some skill and confidence. However, women respond extremely well to this, and it allows them to be themselves. Number 5. The latest fads don't affect them. Have you ever seen how much money and value there is in marketing? You see, people are very easily brainwashed by the media, which is constantly telling them about celebrities and how they need to dress or even talk like these people to pick up women. One of the major differences between high-value men and the others is the fact that these men set their own trends. They don't feel the need to be constantly bombarded by all these various fads and things that others expect from them. Not only does this give them the freedom to be who they want, but they don't have to waste as many resources trying to be a shell as someone else. These resources can now be wisely invested into chasing your own dreams and goals, something that women appreciate. It's important as a man that you do not fall into the trap of trying to replicate the life of someone else. You might notice them doing great with women and even having tons of success, but you'll never be able to truly become that person. It's absolutely essential that being yourself is your primary goal in life. Number 6. They are willing to let people go. One of the main reasons why men always find themselves following others is simply because they're not willing to let others go. You see, not everyone who enters your life will be useful. Most people are simply dead weight you need to carry, but since you might have an emotional connection to them, you're unwilling to let them go, and these people keep on badly affecting you. When someone isn't good for you, or when a woman's playing with you by stringing you along, the best choice you can make is to let them go. This is something that high-value men have realized. Since women are not used to men simply letting them go anymore, they realize what's happening and tend to come back. This is where the kind of person who exhibits high-value behavior finds himself with many women now coming back. Number 7. Calm and relaxed demeanor. Life is incredibly stressful, and due to this, everyone's constantly chasing something. Very rarely do you find people simply just relaxing and having a little bit of fun in their lives. This is one of the biggest issues that often create a lot of frustration in relationships. You see, a man needs to be the calm one and the voice of reason in many situations. This is something that doesn't always happen, and it creates a lot of tension in many relationships. One of the main reasons for high-value men being so successful is the fact that they exhibit cool and calm behavior. Since they can do this regardless of the stressors in life, a woman automatically feels more secure and safe around them. If you can make jokes in the middle of a complicated situation and always reassure others about just how things will be fine, you become the most trustworthy person in the group. High-value men realize that overreacting doesn't give them any real value, and this is naturally what makes women see men as being weak. You want to be the one who makes them feel calm and relaxed. Number 8. They don't actively seek women. When it comes to finding women, you have 2 types of guys. The first one can be found in clubs and bars each weekend trying to pick up women with his friends. The other is so highly focused on his goals that he doesn't need to actively seek a partner. Women feel pressured when dealing with a man who's actively seeking a partner. These men tend to constantly chase, and eventually they've been overtaken by the men who desire to move forward and chase success in life. It's much more valuable to be on your goals and purpose and allow women to find you. This is very similar to meeting women in the present moment. Women respond highly to these sporadic encounters, and they're far more likely to also say yes more frequently to these kinds of men. We recommend allowing women to come your way and to put yourself into positions where they're more likely to come your way. Number 9. Willingness to compliment women. A massive fear that men have nowadays is complimenting a woman and making her feel special. In fact, so many influencers tell you not to blow smoke up her ego or to help inflate this. And the reason for this is that women will begin to believe they are now the ones in control of the relationship. However, when you are a man of value and your main goal is improving yourself and focusing on your own goals, you're not bothered by the egos of women. In fact, it becomes frustrating to talk to women with an ego, and these men tend to simply avoid this at all costs. A powerful man will give out compliments as they wish, and this is because they do not expect anything in return. These men can flirt with a woman and simply walk away without a care in the world. As you might imagine, it can completely baffle women when this happens. But once again, it all comes down to being completely genuine and authentic, which is something these men naturally tend to do. If you want to become a high-value man, you should not be scared of complimenting women randomly and showing them that you don't care how they respond. Number 10. They are enigmatic. Finally, one of the most important points of attraction once again rears its head. You see, women love puzzles, and they can spend hours or even days trying to find out a couple mysteries about people. This means that a man who doesn't reveal everything about himself now becomes a challenge for her to understand, which requires a lot of time. Women love when they need to put in a lot of effort to figure someone out, and this is a massive way for you to live rent-free in her mind. You see, the more she thinks of you, the more she slowly starts liking you as well. High-value men are simply cut from a different cloth, and they think in a way of thriving instead of simply surviving. These men exhibit some of these incredible behaviors, which offer value, and women are highly drawn to this. But to become a high-value man, you need to look at this next video.